Welcome to another webinar, video, or whatever you want to call it. So today I made 3,100 bucks. I initially didn't want to make, I didn't want to make or do a webinar or do a video because I was like, oh, I didn't make enough money. Um, and then I'm like, man, I used to make this in a month. You know what? No stress. I'm gonna make a video. I'm gonna break it down because there's few different points that I want to break down how I made this money and how you can do the same as well, and how to structure the day so you can win and you can win big. All right. So I got the whiteboard. Hey, I got the whiteboard today, so you're gonna be good. All right. So the first point that I want to talk about is how do you approach the day? Like, how do you, as a day trader, how do we need to approach the day so we can win? Because I feel like a lot of people, man, just come up, like they just show up to the trading days like, oh, another thing to do, right? Or they're super excited or they're not excited at all. Um, but I personally think trading is there needs to be a structure. To like personally for me, I'll give you my structure and you figure out whatever you need to do. All right. So from I'll keep everything in Eastern time, Eastern Standard Time. All right. I personally think only about from 8:30 to 8:45 Eastern time. That's the only time you need to make a game plan. So when I say game plan, I'm talking about drawing levels on your charts. So I personally like when I draw levels, I personally like only 60-minute charts. So when I'm drawing levels on a 60-minute chart, I have pre-market and after-market data on. Okay? Don't turn it off. It's important. Sweet. And it takes me about 15 minutes to draw levels on the names that I trade, which is SPY, QQQs, Apple, AMD, Amazon, and just trade the same names over and over again, man. Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. These are the only names that I trade. SPX as well, but I don't draw levels on SPX. But these are the only names that I trade over and over again. Doesn't matter what news is happening on whatever stocks starts moving. But I draw literally go on an hourly chart on SPY, draw levels, 3 levels towards the upside, 3 levels towards the downside, done. QQQs, 3 levels towards the upside, downside, done. Now comes 8:45. Now I make my game plan, done. I share my game plan in the chat, but now I have 45 minutes. What do I do? This is a tricky part. I like to do only about 5 minutes. 5 minutes, sometimes not even 5 minutes, sometimes even 1 minute, depending on how my sleep was. I like to do just like 1 minute, just say of, and that usually is about at 9:20, just 10 minutes before the market open, depending 5 minutes or 1 minute how I'm feeling. I just close my eyes and just sit there silently. Please do not need, oh my God, you do not need no guided meditation. You don't, it, oh my, bro, I can't stand people who go like someone tells them to breathe. Like they are so addicted to getting orders from someone. They tell them, someone tells them, take a deep breath in and deep breath out. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't think about it. So you don't need no orders from somebody, all right? The simplest thing you need to do is meditation is, I'll tell you what meditation is, all right? In simple words, what I have discovered is just the art of focusing on one thing. All right, count the numbers, one, two, three. The moment you start thinking of something else, it's the art of bringing your thoughts back to what you were doing. That's meditation, man. All right. The moment you start thinking of something else, you bring it back to your original self, and you do it. And I know this sounds cliche, and again, I do this stuff for even if I'm gonna post this on YouTube. Only 1% of people are gonna follow this stuff, and I make these videos for those people. So if you're that person, hey, you're gonna do this. All right. 1 minute, 5 minute, whatever you want. Anything more than 5 minutes, I fall asleep. Anything more than 5 minutes, I'm like, man, I'm sleeping. So 1 minute, 2 minutes, whatever you want. And then comes the market open. Now we have drawn levels. What do? We have levels towards the upside. We have levels towards the downside. That means the price is trading somewhere here. The first thing is we wait for the trend, like whichever side. And then which brings me to the second point on the overall like different time frames. Now you need different time frames to trade for the day. And then we go over and talk about my trades. All right. Different time frames means 9:30. As soon as the market opened to 10 o'clock, I trade 2 minute chart only. And then 10 to 11, I trade 5 minute chart only. And then 11 to roughly 3, I trade 10 minute chart. And then comes the power hour People talk about 3 to 4 the last hour. I never trade. I think it's not for us. It's for the smart individuals out there. And I don't think I'm that smart or I have that many resources because those people can buy worth $20 million worth of shares. I don't have that much money. So, see what I'm saying? All right. So you got it. Different time frames. Now, when we are trading right at the market open, and we have done all this, market just open. Now we're on a 2 minute chart. Now we need to wait for a trend. And what's the definition of a trend? The definition of a trend for me personally, the simple definition is the moment we go like this, a moment we make one first big move, and now I'm like, okay, let's see if we get a little pullback. The moment we start getting a little pullback, my brain is thinking maybe there's going to be another push like this, because that's how the structure of the trend works, right? So after one big move, I'm waiting for a little pullback. The moment I start getting little pullback, I'm start getting ready. I'm like, all right, this could be a move, potential move like this towards the upside or the downside, whichever side it may be. Does it make sense? Sweet. So, how to structure your day? Draw your levels in the pre-market. Super important. Meditate for a minute or so. It will help you. It will calm you down because back in the day, I would just before the market opened, man. As soon as the market's about to open, my chest will start feeling heavy, and I'll be like, "Oh my god!" Like, my heart, bro, my heart's like racing. So I started doing this meditation thing about 9:20, 9:25 for a minute or 2 minutes. It started calming me down. So I'm like, all right, if it works, it works. Hey, anything that helps me make money, I'll do it. Fuck it. All right. And then the third thing is watching different time frames. As soon as the market open, you wait for one big move, and you wait for a pullback. Whenever the pullback happens, now you're getting ready for the next move. So wait, so let's break it down. Let's go over the stuff, and let's go over my trades. So these are the levels that I set up for AMD. Now, if you like how to draw levels, just levels, man. I don't know. All right, we'll just assume you know how to draw levels. All right. AMD first trade. Um, it started moving, started pushing towards the downside right here, as you can see. I started like look at this candle. This is a 2 minute candle. The first very candle. Do you think this candle, because of the wick, at one stage this candle was a green candle like this? And then what happened? There's 200 simple moving average right at the top. You see this? 200 simple moving average on a 2 minute chart. And what happened to the price? It straight away just like got scared of it and it's closed like this. Now we have such a crazy wick on the top, which got rejected at this pre-market level and the 200 moving average. Now, does that mean that I should go out there and try to short this play right here? No. It simply means it got rejected off a heavy level. Now, the right thing to do is wait for a pullback. Sometimes the pullback gonna happen straight away. Sometimes there's not gonna be no pullback. Like look at this. We're still waiting for a pullback, right? A pullback simply means a candle that is contained within the previous candle. All right. Boom. And guess what? What are we doing? Do we get FOMO here? Yo, that's a question. Normal people, what do normal people do? They're like, oh my God, man, if I would have bought here. Oh, if I would have bought here. If like you should good woods, that's like that doesn't pay, yo, at the end of the day. You gotta do the right thing, right? And now, do we enter? No. Bam. Now, do you get FOMO now? Of course, everybody gets FOMO, man. Even I had FOMO when I was watching this chart. I'm like, oh my God. But that doesn't mean I need to go out there and act on my FOMO. It's two very different things, right? There's always going to be emotions, but that doesn't mean you need to go out there and, act on those emotions. That doesn't pay. We're still waiting for a pullback. And then we got a candle that is contained. Do you see this? What happened? A micro mini flag started forming on a 2 minute, right? And it's already below pre-market low. That's it. Another good sign. It's below this price point where we're gonna enter. So now, what do we do here? Yo, for stop loss of a pro or entry. The first thing entry would be hang on. All right here. This is a tool called short position. So if we enter roughly the break of this flag, let's say, stop loss is on the other side of this, and the profit target's here. Now, what's happening here? We are risking 81 cents to potentially make $13. Is that a good trade? That's a beautiful trade. That's a really good trade. Why? Because we will take first profit taking and then comes the negative risk management. Now let's see how it goes. Bang. Yeah. Check this out. Maybe I'm like, It'd be like, didn't it hit your stop loss? No, because the candle opened right here, and the logical thing the candle would have done, or actually what it did was it went up a little bit and then it went down and it broke below. Now stop loss, even if it goes up, stop loss is still sitting at the same price point. Right? And now, how do we manage trade? How do we manage our runners? And another important topic, which is called negative risk management. I think I've broken this down so many times. Oh my god! But because I love you all, and I want to, if you repeat something, it becomes a big deal. It's just the way the game works. So I'll repeat it again. Negative risk management. All right, negative risk management simply means if I am short right here at this level, this is the first profit target, and this is the second level, not profit target, but just the levels. If I entered here, these are the levels that I drew in the pre-market. Okay. So now if I'm going short, that means if I'm buying puts and each put is 120 and I'm buying 10 puts, all right, the moment this goes down and touches my first point, I need to sell 50% of my position, whatever position size I have. So that means if let's say the contracts by the time it touched this came down to 160 and I sold, I need to sell 50%, which is sell five. That means you made $40, 120 to 160, $40 times five. That's $200. So wait, now there's two ways how this, like, there's only two ways how the market can go, right? One is it can literally bounce at this level. Other one, it can break below. So we'll talk about what if it bounces. If it bounces right here, starts bouncing because it's a critical level, and critical levels means that that's where the last time buyers came, and there are chances that the buyers might come again and might bounce. That's why the critical level is there first place. Who here goes when the moment the price touches the critical level, you go, oh, if it breaks this level, now you're gonna get to the next level. But you don't take profits, but you're like fantasizing about what's gonna happen if it breaks this. Oh my god, I'll get paid. I used to do that. I'll start fantasizing about these gains, but I'll forget about taking profits. So that's why now, as soon as it touches my level, my brain just goes, oh my god, somebody's gonna get in my pocket and take my money away. No, let me just book a little bit of my gains. All right, so 50% off, $40. I have $200 is in my pocket, and this is my entry point. Now, if it bounces from here, my stop loss on the option contract doesn't matter what the stock price is. Stop loss on the option contracts is my entry point. Even if it bounces, this 200 stays in my pocket. Like Nipsey Hussle says, all money in, no money out. But the second way approach is now, right now, you're holding the trade, no risk. There's no risk. Why? Because even if it bounces, bro, you get to still keep the money that you already took off. But what if it goes down? The moment it hits your next level, you take another 50% off. So what's the 50% off? Five contracts. Now you make up your mind. Do you want to take two contracts off? You want to take three contracts off? Unfortunately, you can't take 2.5 contracts off. All right. And then the stop loss becomes on the remainder, still 1.2. Comes down. Now, if you have, let's say you have two contracts, you take another 50% off. That means you take one off. Now, what happens? It gets to a point where if it keeps dropping, it comes to a point where you're like, man, it's just not worth it. Even if it goes further down and I'm up 300%, even if it keeps going down, it's just not worth it for, my contracts have already paid me $800 a contract. You know what? I'm happy. I'm about to sell. Goodbye. Does that make sense? That's negative risk management. But so basically, you held this trade, all this trade for free because your risk pretty much became zero the moment it hits your first level. So that's free money. Why wouldn't you take it? Right? Give me one reason. So that's called negative risk management. So wait, and that's what I exactly did. Next level, right here. Now I was waiting for this level. I was like, oh, 129 be the level. If it hits 129, I'll get out. And that would have been my risk to reward. Beautiful. But you know what happened? It started bouncing off around here. And what happened here? I took my profits at the first level. I was waiting for my 129 level to hit. I didn't take no profit. It reversed. And what happened? It hit my break even point and I got out. So should I be upset? No. I made money and I'm done. Sweet. On to the next. Does that make sense? Yo, this is like you control emotions. Yes, of course. At one stage, I was like, oh my God, man, I'm up like nearly $1,000. Now I'm walking away with like 400. Oh my God, man, it could have been better. I could have managed better or da 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 da, whatever bullshit stories I'm telling myself. But at the end of the day, man, There was a risk I was willing to take. It was no money going out of my pocket. It was just like the market's money at that stage, unrealized profits that I was playing with. And that's why you gotta find peace with it because it's unrealized. All right. If you start falling in love with unrealized profits, you know what that is? That's like, have you anybody ever seen those and I don't know if you guys ever been to like inside a bank or some of the banks that I've been to, when you go deposit a heavy chunk of money, so there's a room at the back, like a private room where you can sit because like a safer room if you have a heavy chunk of cash. Um, and you can kind of see how, the total cash they're kind of holding, say 100 grand, 200 grand, or whatever it is. Um, if you fall in love with unrealized profits, any money that you see lying around, you just think that's mine. What happens with that? When you try to take that money, it's big time felony. They put you in jail when you try to fall in love with money that's actually not yours. So same have kind of the same emotions with those money that's not yours yet because it's unrealized. Does that make sense? A little bit, you know, super important. All right, now this is done. That was an AMD trade. Now really quickly we jump to the next one. Is I took the AMD trade again, but this time the trade was after 10. So I was on a 5 minute chart. So let's jump to the 5 minute chart and go with this. And I lost money on this trade. So let's break it down. What happened? AMD started going like this, and I saw a little pullback. Like it was still, this is the mistake. I personally think this is the mistake I made. I kind of thought that AMD might have started a new uptrend. I'm like, AMD might have started an uptrend. But in reality, on a 5 minute chart, the moment I switched the time frame, 10 o'clock, if you look at this chart, what's going on right now? Do you see this? There might be chances it might go like this. It's maybe, but I jumped in calls. I thought it gonna go up. Why? I started trade at this stage. I traded what I thought can happen rather than what was happening in the market, and that's a big time no. Does that make sense? So what I did here, clearly looks in a downtrend. It didn't break the structure. The structure was actually this is one big downward move. Like right here, I explained one big downward move. A pullback's happening. It might go in the original direction. A big downward move, pullback's happening. It might go in the original direction. But I thought of it like, oh, it might go towards the upside. So I went long after this little pullback towards the upside. And guess what happened? I went long and it pretty much hit my stop loss right here. Now, what could have done better? It probably was not, it didn't look good for the downside. Why the pullback was too steep, right? Yeah, no, yeah, this is too much sauce already for, yeah, but you get the point, right? The pullback was too steep. So this didn't look good for the downside. And that's why I think I made a setup in my head. Maybe this might be a trade for the upside, just because it was not a trade for the downside. So I took a loss. I took a little hit on this. Not much, 25% or whatever. But that was the case. And so now the lesson that I learned, personally, the lesson that I learned when I was journaling, one thing that I wrote down was pay attention to the structures of the trend. Like in order for the trend to reverse, right? In order for the trend to reverse, you have to understand that um, it could have break the structure. Otherwise, the trend would not reverse. I'm trying to play the reversal right here, but hasn't broken the structure yet. So I personally think the structure here would be probably because this is one big move, and then I personally think the structure would be just the break of the high of the day. That would be a break of structure because there was no other pullback anywhere. If it would have been like this, then a break of this would have been break of structure. But in this case, there was nothing. Right. Um, now because early morning I had a win. I had taken the good thing that I did about this trade was I had a win early morning on AMD, which was not much. But because of the early morning win, now I'm playing calls. I had a little bit of not small position size, but a little bit of position size. But I made I think a loss. I was down. I lost more money than what I made on the previous trade. I was down like $400 at this point, 400 bucks at this point, after I took the loss on this trade and the profits on the first trade. So overall day was like still negative. And then comes Meta. So let's talk about Meta, yo. Because on Meta, I took the trade again around let's see, go and I'll break it down really nicely. So Meta, trend started 10 o'clock, still pushing. What do we wait for? Hey, let me know. Let me know in the chat. What's the one thing that we are waiting for after we see a trend has started? A pullback, right? Now we're waiting for a pullback. And is that a pullback right now? Is that a pullback which is contained? No. Now, is that a pullback which is contained? Now, clearly, we see that, okay, this looks really, really nice, right? It looks really good. That means if we are going long right here, the break of this little micro flag, stop loss would go here. The first profit target's this. Now, to me, when I was looking at it, I'm like, man, this the based on the risk that I'm taking, the reward looks really silly. Right? The reward looks really, really silly. But ain't gonna lie, this is a true conversation that I had with myself at the time when I'm about to take this trade. Um, and I was just coming back from a loss of the AMT, so I was doing a small position size at first place, and now I'm like thinking like, oh my god, I need to, because I was feeling guilty about, because bro, there's so many people that lost money because of me on AMD trade, because 500 people are trading live with me. And now I'm like, oh my God, man, this looks good. And then to confirm the suspicion of the trade, just keeping it real, yo. All right. Just to confirm this, the other admin that we have, V, he's like, I'm in Meta. I'm like, all right, I got someone to blame. I'm like, if this trade doesn't work, it'd be like V's fault. And that's true emotions. Doesn't matter how long you've been trading. And this is like, you have to find peace with it. Yeah, I made a mistake, but the good thing that I did about this, my stop loss, my end position size on this was super small. I didn't go, let me just do big position size so I can market my results on social media and be like, oh, look at me, I'm so smart. And on top of that, the pressure that I had was my dad was hanging around because I told him, hey, dad, I'll show you how to actually make money. So I'm like, man, this man gonna think I don't know his shit, and I'm full of crap. So, so yeah, at this stage, that was one of the reasons why I even took this trade. Where I'm like, I was thinking more towards the upside, if that makes sense. All right, nobody, hey, I could have found a bullshit reason and confused you and made you think like I'm so smart. All right, oh, look at this line crossing over this line and this and this. That's why I took this trade. I'm just trying to keep it real. All right, there was too many emotional factors for me. And so I got in. I'm like, fuck it. No stress. I got in. The moment it broke, I got in. Is what it is. And then it started playing up, and now I'm feeling sick. I'm sitting here just like I'm si- I'm sitting here, I'm like just sitting like this. And my dad's sitting on the couch outside, and I'm just looking at him. I'm like, I'm all right, sweet, everything's good. And then it pulled back even more. And like at this stage, I was like, fine. And then this pullback happened. I'm like, what the fuck, man? This man's not going to bed. I'm like, I I muted the mic while I was on the voice. I'm like, hey man, do you want to go to bed? Don't worry about it. He's like, nah, it's all right. I'm like, do you want to go to bed, bro? Because it's like like right now it's 6 a.m., right? So at that stage, probably it was like 1 to like 12, 1 o'clock. I'm like, you wanna go? He's like, nah, don't worry. And then it started like, this is when exactly, I keep it real. This is when I added a little bit to this, right? Right. This is where I added a little bit, and now I had too many emotions at this point. All right. I just wanted to get my entry point a little bit right, my average point a little bit right, because I paid too much early morning. But yeah, these were a little bit of my emotions just because I was trying to prove my results to somebody. Right. And this is a point which is why I want to actually break it down. You might be, you might try to prove it to your wife or to your husband that you got what it takes. And the moment you finish trading and the moment you get out of your office, and if your family, of anybody from your family asks you, how was your trading today and how was work, and if you tell green, red, that adds extra emotions. Okay. This was me back in the day where my girlfriend, now wife, she would ask, how'd your trading go? And just because I didn't want to tell her that, yeah, I was red, I'll do some dumb stuff. Makes sense? There's like psychology. I'll do some dumb shit just because I didn't want to be red. So then I made it. then we sat down. Just I'm like, hey babe, you need to stop asking me how my work went. I'll tell you myself if it went good or not. I just need to stop trying to prove it to yourself, and just it's really bothering me, and it's affecting me. And she's like, all right, sweet. I don't understand shit anyway. No problem. And and that was really, really helpful because I started like, just not, instead of trying to prove to somebody, it just went like, all right, I need to follow the plan. If I follow the plan over a long period of time, I'll be good. And then I started seeing results, and then it went like just upward spiral. So that's what I felt today, like that time 5 years ago, what I felt when my wife would ask, how was your trading? Because my dad's sitting there just looking at me like he's like half sleepy, he's like looking at me like this. I'm like, you gonna go to bed? He's like, no. So I'm like trying to prove it to him. And then the trade started working, which is sweet. I'm like, okay, I took some profits right here. The moment it hit, I'm like, all right, stop loss break even. Wait, no stress. And then it started moving. And now I'm like up decent, roughly around here. The moment it hit this price point kept taking off. And then I'm like, it might hit 500. And I think roughly around here, I think I started taking more off because I was like, nah, I'm done. I'm done, man. These emotions are getting best out of me because I realized how I realized my emotions at the peak. So which is where I went like, you know what, I'm calling it a day. And that's why I walked away early, even though the market was setting up nicely. And this was a third trade. And then I did my fourth trade after this, which I went like quietly after this, and I was in the gym at that time. So the last trade that I did was on SPY. SPY? Yeah, SPY. SPY trade was on a 10-minute chart because it was taken after 11. I was watching 10-minute chart, but this trade, I personally think this was the only trade on the day, or maybe one of the best trades on the day. I started watching SPY. I think roughly around here when we broke the pre-market. I was in the gym, and I'm just like taking looking at the charts because I love charts, and it broke the pre-market high, and it broke this highs, and I'm like, okay, if we get a pullback, I'm gonna trade this. But I have a rule. I have a rule saying if I trade from my phone ever, my rule is I'm only gonna do half my position size. I'm never gonna do my full position size. Right, my full position size. Let's say if it's $3,000, I'm only gonna do 1,500 or 2,000. All right. I waited for a pullback. Got the next candle is a pullback, and then this candle right here got a little pullback. I'm waiting for the highs of this candle to break initially up until this point. All right. Up until this point, I'm waiting for the highs to break, but we never did. So next candle, I'm waiting for the highs of this candle to break, and it did. Stop loss is just below this, and it hit my target, and I jumped out pretty much the whole thing, or maybe I just like got super scared when I saw this red candle and I was in the gym. I'm like, man, I can't. So I got out. But somewhere, either this candle or this candle, I went, yeah, I started shitting my pants. Now, of course, I made money, yo. You might be like, yeah, bro, but you made money. Of course, I made money. Now, is this the money that good money? Like, should I be proud of this money? Because I wrecked up on Meta trade. Imagine the trade would have gone against me, where I'm risking such a huge chunk for such a little reward. What would have happened? We regret. And then I'm trading on a phone. I didn't like I should have let my runners run, and it would have been a beautiful trade up until this point, right? Should I be happy about this profits? I don't think so. But I just want to keep it real. Even though sometimes you're green, but you fucked up. That's still a fuck up, yo. It's not a green. That makes sense? Yeah. I got to show off. Hey, as soon as I finished trading, I went to my dad. I'm like, hey, do you see this? Fuck. He's like, oh my god. I'm like, right. I got to show off, but hey, it didn't work the way like deep inside me. I was like, man, there was too many emotions and that's why I just like went to the gym, middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, you know what, man, I gotta just take it easy and burn it off. So that was my trading day, and that was my trading day, keeping it real and keeping it transparent. So don't just consider your green trading day as a good trading day, and don't consider your red trading day as a bad trading day. Consider your good trading day if you followed your plan, it's good. If you didn't follow your plan, it's bad. If you do this long enough, you'll thank me later. All right, sweet. That makes sense to all. And if you're watching this on YouTube, and I promise you, I promise you, I don't want to post this video on YouTube, but if you're watching this on YouTube, yeah, not a lot of fucking traders will keep this real. But yeah, hey, is what it is. He said, "Would you take that meta trade again?" I don't think so. No, just because of the meta trade was decent trade. The only reason why this trade becomes a bad trade was because of my hourly level sitting right at the top. If my hourly level was not sitting right at the top, or I could have been just like this. Hey, let's be like a pigeon. You know what pigeons do? The moment the cat approaches the pigeon, pigeons close their eyes, thinking the cat's not there. So I could have been like a pigeon, deleted the level. Sweet, life's so good. But again, I had a level for a reason. Does it make sense? So would I take that trade again? I don't think so. All right. Um, yeah, that's that. He's like, according to you, should we have a monetary goals for the month or year? Does it motivate people? Or it's just forces makes us frustrated. I think why I don't put a target to my earnings, man. Why limit yourself? Like sky's the limit. Why? Just sky's the limit. Go do best thing, do whatever you can do best today. I do this with my businesses as well. Like I don't limit anything. I'm like, let me do everything that I need to do today. Fuck it. I'm gonna go all in. And sky's the limit. So no, shouldn't do monthly or weekly or yearly goals. It doesn't work. For the AMD trade short entry, do you market buy as soon as the red candle moves past your pullback candle? Yes. Yes, market orders. Anything up until you do say 100, 200, 500 contracts, man, market orders is the one. Right? 500 contract. I think interactive brokers start playing around when I do 200 contracts and I do market order, and they're like, oh my god, what the heck's going on? And they give me a warning. Once I'd sold like 1,000 contracts at the market, I had 1,000, oh, like whole day it was like moving, and I got a warning from them, like where they actually like legit like called me. They're like, hey, we suspending this and this up until we figure out some suspicious activities, da da da. You can't log in. And I'm like, oh my God, man. Oh my God. All right, I won't do it. So now if I need to play SPY and I need to take big size, I go in SPX. All right. So that means I can do 10 contracts on SPX. That's like 100 contracts on SPY. So it's a little bit easier, but there's always a way around. All right. That's all, fam. I'm out of here. Peace. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Get me to 10,000 subscribers. All right. And let me know in the comments down below if you enjoy this. Peace. I'm out. Goodbye. Much love.